It is Easter long weekend, which means we have 4 days to be away from daily responsibility and civilization. My attention naturally turned to Victorian High Country. It's a mountain spine located in northeast of Victoria, kind of like a smaller Australian version of the Canadian Rockies. Our first day involved a little exploring around Rubicon Village. Although the gate was closed and we were not able to get into the historical site, the scenery along the way was definitely worth it. As the day started to get dark, we got back onto the pavement and had to our accommodation at Mount Bowler. This is when
Oh! Did you get it?
Oh my god. Mount Bowler will turn into a ski resort in around 2 months' time. Maybe by then I can visit again to experience snowboarding in June and July. Still trying to get used to the reversed season and opposite side of things. We officially head into the high country. There are a lot of beautiful four-wheel drive tracks, flats, and huts built by people that used to live here in the mountains. Since it's quite far from the city for a weekend-only trip, Easter long weekend is just about the right time before it gets too cold. So yes, we were aware that it can get quite crowded at the official campsites. This is Pineapple Flat, a really popular campsite. Look at those tents. I feel like for this kind of sites, it makes you feel like you're trying to build a house better than your neighbors. Look at those. It's like a whole family house right here. We were lucky enough to find our first campsite away from the crowd, just not too far from Bluff Hut. It was an open area, hidden mountaintop, and what can I say? The sunset is all yours. Sorry, all mine. We didn't have a fridge and I wasn't sure how a cooler will handle meat and perishable stuff, so our trip was filled with hot cross buns. I just bought too much from Easter sale. Hey, at least I got pretty good at stacking them into a small sandwich. After setting up the tent, we decided to go for a little night walk. Along the way, we met some volunteer tour guides. Hi. They led our way for almost 10 minutes. Later that night, we met some hunters on the way back to the camp. Aren't those deers lucky that we are not armed? One down.
It's getting tired. There we go. Bye-bye.
One thing about Mountaintop is that it can get quite windy since there's no barrier around you to block airflow. It's really hard to get out of bed when it's so cold out. Our route for the third day needs some change because King Billy Tracks was closed. That was my original plan, to get into Howitt Plain. Adventure is full of surprise. The alternative route led us to this steep hill climb. '90 series Landcruiser Prado struggled a bit, but since the vehicle is fairly light, with careful wheel placement, he was able to make it up in style. Except... when loose sand slipped the front of the car into a direction that you don't want to go. Here, if you take one step wrong, we may risk rolling it down the hill. It's a tricky position for recovery. There's no anchor on the right, and winching towards the tree on the left can drag the car more towards the cliff. So a smarter move here is to reverse with winch attached, Get the wheels back to the center track and then winch forward straight. It's important to use your brain in technical courses like this.
Not lose my car.
Oh.
Yeah.
As for the 100 series, I just had ARB diff lockers installed a week ago and this slope became a good testing ground. To be honest, I am quite impressed. There was only one point I needed to use front locker, mainly a rear locker was enough. This sort of gave me the kind of confidence of driving my Jeep back home. We met this Triton multiple times along the trip, overtaking and catching up each other and back and forth. Eventually we shared the beautiful campsite last night together. We got to know Gary and Kelly. Our last time catching them was at Licola, and Gary told us a good campsite by Wellington River. This is a public campsite, but thanks to Gary's tip, we managed to find the whole ground all to ourselves.